Beloved, the greatest battles are not won with fists or words, but with wisdom, patience, and an unshakable understanding of the human heart. When faced with opposition, our instinct is often to fight back, to prove ourselves right, to retaliate with force. But what if I told you that true victory lies not in destruction, but in mastery? Mastery over our emotions, our reactions, and most importantly, our ability to understand the motives of those who stand against us. Emotional intelligence is the key to dismantling your enemy without ever lifting a sword. At the heart of emotional intelligence is self-awareness. It's the ability to recognize your own emotions before they control you. Too often, we are quick to react in the heat of the moment, allowing anger, frustration, or pride to dictate our response. But when we pause, when we take a deep breath and examine the situation through a lens of clarity, we begin to see beyond the immediate offense. We recognize that our enemy's actions are often a reflection of their own fears, insecurities, and unmet needs. And when we understand this, we gain the upper hand, not by overpowering them, but by refusing to be controlled by their chaos. Understanding your enemy's motives is not about justifying their actions. It's about gaining insight into what drives them. Every person operates from a place of experience, belief, and personal struggle. The colleague who undermines you in the office may be acting from a place of deep-seated insecurity. The friend who betrays you might be struggling with their own fear of inadequacy. The adversary who tries to tear you down could be projecting their own unresolved pain. When you see this, you no longer take their attacks personally. Instead, you see their behavior as a symptom of something deeper. And that knowledge gives you control over the situation. Empathy is not weakness. It is a strategy. When you understand what fuels your enemy, you can respond in a way that disarms them completely. Instead of reacting with anger, you can respond with calm. Instead of meeting aggression with aggression, you can meet it with understanding. When someone expects a fight and you give them peace, they are left confused, unsettled, and ultimately powerless over you. The person who controls their emotions holds the power in every conflict. You cannot be manipulated if you refuse to play the emotional game. And here's the most powerful truth. When you approach your enemies with emotional intelligence, you often find that they were never truly your enemies to begin with. More often than not, conflict arises from misunderstanding, from assumptions, from wounds that have never healed. When you take the time to see the person behind the battle, you create an opportunity for transformation. You may turn an adversary into an ally. You may find resolution where there once was only resentment. There is an old saying, a fool vents all his feelings, but a wise person holds them back. Wisdom is not in how loudly we speak, but in how well we listen. Emotional intelligence is about listening not just to words, but to intentions, to fears, to unspoken pain. It is about choosing to see beyond the momentary offense and recognizing the bigger picture. And in that bigger picture, you realize that your victory is not in proving someone wrong, but in rising above the battle altogether. This doesn't mean you let people walk over you. This doesn't mean you don't stand your ground. It means you choose your battles wisely, understanding that true power is in knowing when a fight is not worth your energy. Some enemies defeat themselves simply because they cannot get a reaction out of you. Some battles are won by outlasting, not by outpunching. When you operate from a place of emotional mastery, you become untouchable. Beloved, the greatest victory is not in destroying your enemy. It is in becoming someone they can never defeat. When you control your emotions, when you understand their motives, when you refuse to engage in senseless battles, you rise above the need for war. And that, my friends, is how you destroy your enemy without ever fighting. Beloved, there is a power greater than strength, sharper than words, and more unshakable than force. It is self-betrayal. In the heat of battle, Whether it be a war of words, a personal betrayal, or a moment of deep frustration, the most powerful weapon you have is not your anger, not your wit, and not your ability to retaliate. It is your ability to remain composed when everything inside you wants to react. When you master self-control, you strip your enemies of their ability to manipulate you. You remove the fuel from their fire, leaving them powerless in their attempts to provoke or defeat you. We often think that power comes from dominance, from asserting ourselves loudly, from proving that we are right. But true power lies in restraint. Think of a storm. Wind can rage, rain can pour, but the mountain does not move. It stands unshaken, unaffected. This is the essence of self-control. When someone tries to provoke you, when they attack your character or attempt to stir chaos, they are expecting a reaction. They are counting on your anger, your defensiveness, your need to fight back. But when you remain steady, when you pause, breathe, and respond with wisdom rather than impulse, you take that power away from them entirely. Have you ever noticed how silence can be louder than words? How a calm response can be more unsettling than rage? There is a reason for this. When someone lashes out at you and you refuse to engage in their storm, they are left to face their own reflection. Their anger becomes obvious, their insecurities exposed. They realize that they have no control over you, and that realization alone can dismantle their entire strategy. A wise person understands that not every battle is worth fighting, and many battles are won simply by refusing to participate. Self-train is not about suppressing your emotions. It is about mastering them. It is about acknowledging how you feel, but choosing to act from a place of wisdom, not reaction. Anger is natural, frustration is inevitable, and moments of hurt are real. But when we allow those emotions to dictate our responses, we give away our power. Instead, we must train ourselves to pause, to ask, is this worth my energy? Will this reaction serve my higher purpose? Am I fighting to win a temporary battle while sacrificing long-term peace? One of the greatest tactics in warfare is to lure the enemy into acting on impulse. When a soldier moves without thinking, he exposes himself to attack. The same is true in life. The moment you let your emotions lead, you become predictable, vulnerable, and easily manipulated. But when you train yourself to step back, to assess the situation with clarity, you become untouchable. Your enemies will grow frustrated, because they will realize that they cannot control you. And when they cannot control you, they cannot defeat you. Beloved, understand this. Self-control is not a sign of weakness. It is a mark of true strength. Anyone can react. Anyone can lash out in anger, fire back a response, or escalate a conflict. But it takes true courage and discipline to remain calm in the face of provocation. It takes wisdom to walk away from a fight that serves no purpose. It takes confidence to know that your value is not diminished by the opinions or actions of others. The world tells us that victory is about overpowering our enemies. But real victory is when you are so composed, so grounded in who you are, that nothing and no one can shake you. You do not have to prove yourself to people who do not see your worth. You do not have to defend yourself against every insult or false accusation. When your silence, your peace, and your refusal to engage in meaningless battles will be louder than any defense you could ever give. Beloved, mastering self-control is not just about winning a battle. It is about winning in life. It is about protecting your energy, preserving your peace, and refusing to let outside forces dictate your internal world. React with wisdom, not impulse. Stay grounded in truth, not emotion. And watch as your greatest enemies lose their power over you, one battle at a time. Beloved, conflict is something we often try to avoid. It feels uncomfortable, unsettling, even threatening at times. But what if I told you that conflict is not the enemy? What if I told you that beneath the tension, beneath the misunderstanding, beneath the sharp words and wounded hearts, there is an opportunity to build something stronger, to bridge a divide, to create a connection where one never existed before. The key to turning conflict into connection is empathy, the ability to see beyond the surface of a disagreement and recognize the humanity in the other person. At the heart of every conflict, there are two forces at play: fear and misunderstanding. People fight because they feel threatened. They lash out because they feel unheard, unseen, or unvalued. The louder someone argues, the deeper their need to be understood. When we only focus on the words being said, the accusations, the anger, the resistance, we miss the deeper truth. Conflict is often a cry for connection. And when we approach it with empathy, we can transform what seems like a battle into an opportunity for healing and growth. Empathy is not about agreeing with someone. It's about understanding them. It's about pausing for a moment to ask, why does this person feel this way? What are they truly fighting for? What pain or fear might be driving their reaction? When you take a step back and look at the situation through this lens, you begin to see the real person behind the conflict. You see their struggles, their insecurities, their need for validation. And when you acknowledge those things, not with judgment, but with genuine understanding, you create a space where transformation can happen. We often think that winning an argument means proving we are right, but true victory is not about proving a point. It's about preserving a relationship. It's about finding a way forward that doesn't leave both sides wounded and exhausted. When you approach a conflict with empathy, you shift the entire dynamic. Instead of fighting against each other, you begin working toward a solution together. You begin listening, really listening, not just to respond, but to understand. And in that moment, something shifts. Walls start coming down, defenses lower, and a new kind of conversation begins. Beloved, it takes great strength to meet conflict with empathy. It is far easier to react, to match aggression with aggression, to shut down or walk away. But it is in those moments of tension that we are given the greatest opportunity to lead with courage and grace. When you choose empathy, you are no longer just responding to the conflict, you are shaping it. You are guiding it towards something productive, something meaningful. And in doing so, you show others a different way, a way that doesn't rely on force, but on understanding, a way that doesn't seek to destroy, but to build. So the next time you find yourself in the middle of a disagreement, pause, take a deep breath. Instead of immediately reacting, ask yourself, what is really happening here? What does this person need? How can I turn this moment of opposition into an opportunity for connection? When you begin to see conflict as a chance to deepen understanding, to strengthen relationships, to learn and grow, you no longer fear it. Instead, you embrace it as a stepping stone toward something greater. Because, beloved, true power is not in defeating others. It is in transforming conflict into connection, one moment of empathy at a time. Beloved, in a world that tells us to always speak up, to always defend ourselves, to always have the last word, there is an untold power in silence. Silence is not weakness. Silence is not surrender. Silence is wisdom. It is the ability to discern when a battle is worth fighting and when it is simply a distraction from your greater purpose. Too many people exhaust themselves fighting wars that do not matter, engaging in arguments that steal their peace, and responding to attacks that do not deserve their energy. But the strongest person in the room is often the one who chooses not to engage. Not every battle is meant to be fought. Not every insult deserves a response. Not every argument requires your voice. There are times when silence is the loudest, most effective answer you can give. When someone tries to provoke you, when they attempt to drag you into their chaos, when they throw words like weapons hoping to get a reaction, your silence denies them power. It leaves them speaking into an emptiness they cannot control. It forces them to sit with their own words, their own anger, their own insecurity, because the moment you refuse to engage, you take away their ability to manipulate you. There is a difference between choosing silence and being silenced. Being silenced is when your voice is taken from you, when you are forced into silence by fear or oppression. But choosing silence is an act of strength. It is a declaration that you do not owe every battle your energy. It is a decision to prioritize your peace over proving a point. When you know who you are, when you are secure in your worth and confident in your truth, you do not need to respond to every criticism. You do not need to explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you. Think of the ocean. When a stone is thrown into it, the water ripples for a moment, but then it returns to its natural stillness. The ocean does not fight the stone. It does not rise up in anger. It simply absorbs the disturbance and remains unchanged. Be like the ocean. Let people throw their stones, let them speak their words, let them try to stir the waters of your soul. But do not let them change who you are. Your silence is not a sign of defeat. It is a sign that you refuse to be moved by anything that does not serve your purpose. Beloved, there is a sacred peace that comes from refusing to engage in meaningless battles. People will gossip, let them. People will misunderstand you, let them. People will doubt you, let them. You do not have to chase every rumor, correct every lie, or respond to every attack. Your actions, your integrity, your consistency, these will speak louder than anything you could ever say. The truth always rises in the end. And sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is let your silence do the talking. So the next time someone tries to pull you into a battle that does not deserve your energy, pause. Ask yourself, is this worth my peace? Is this worth my time? Will engaging in this fight make me stronger or just more exhausted? And if the answer is no, then simply walk away. Stand firm in your silence, knowing that true power is not in proving yourself to others. It is in knowing you have nothing to prove. Beloved, we spend so much of our lives believing that our enemies are out there. People who doubt us, betray us, criticize us, or stand in our way. We see them as obstacles to our success, as threats to our peace, as forces we must overcome. But what if I told you that the greatest enemy you will ever face is not outside of you, but within you? The real battle is not with the people who challenge you. It is with the fear, doubt, pride, and pain that live inside your own heart. If you want to overcome your enemies, you must first overcome yourself. There is a war that takes place within each of us. It is the battle between our courage and our fear, between our faith and our doubt, between the voice that says you are enough and the one that whispers you will never be enough. We chase external victories, thinking that if we can just prove ourselves, if we can just silence our critics, if we can just get ahead, then we will feel at peace. But the truth is, no external victory can heal an internal war. No amount of success, validation, or revenge can quiet the insecurities that live inside of us. Until we face the enemy within, we will never truly be free. Think about this. Have you ever noticed that the things people say about you only hurt if you already fear them to be true? If someone calls you weak, it only stings if there is a part of you that wonders if they are right. If someone doubts your worth, it only bothers you if you are still searching for proof that you are enough. The real battle is not about proving yourself to others. It is about knowing yourself so deeply that their words no longer hold power over you. When you are at peace with who you are, no enemy, inside or out, can shake you. And beloved, let me tell you something even more powerful. Sometimes the enemy within is not your fear or your doubt. It is your pride, your unwillingness to forgive, your need to be right. We hold on to grudges, thinking they make us strong, when in reality they keep us imprisoned. We refuse to let go of past hurts, believing they protect us, when in reality they only keep us from moving forward. The hardest battle you will ever fight is the battle to let go, to release the pain, the resentment, the need to win, and instead choose growth, healing, and peace. When you redefine the enemy, you redefine the battle. You realize that it is not about tearing others down, but about building yourself up. It is not about silencing the voices outside of you, but about quieting the doubt within. The people who hurt you are not always your real enemies. Sometimes they are just mirrors, reflecting the parts of yourself that still need healing. Instead of spending your life fighting them, start focusing on healing you. Because when you win the battle within, the battles outside of you lose their power. Beloved, the greatest victory you will ever achieve is not in defeating others. It is in mastering yourself. It is in recognizing that the only person who can truly stand in your way is you. So the next time you find yourself in a fight, ask yourself, is this battle really about them or is it about me? Am I fighting to prove something or am I fighting to grow? Because when you learn to overcome the enemy within, you will find that there are no enemies left to fight. Only lessons, only growth, only a deeper sense of peace than you have ever known. Leading with integrity, true dominance comes from standing firm in your values. Beloved, in a world that constantly shifts, where opinions change like the wind and values are often compromised for convenience, true dominance does not come from control, manipulation, or force. It comes from something far greater: integrity. The most powerful people are not those who demand obedience or crush opposition, but those who stand so firmly in their values that nothing and no one can shake them. Leadership is not about being the loudest voice in the room. It is about being the most consistent, honest, and unwavering in your principles. Integrity is the foundation of all lasting success. A person can gain wealth, influence, and recognition, but if they have compromised their values to get there, they will always be standing on unstable ground. Their power will be temporary, their reputation fragile, and their influence short-lived. But the person who chooses honesty over shortcuts, character over convenience, and truth over temporary gain, that is the person who builds something unshakable. That is the leader who commands respect, not by demanding it, but by earning it. Beloved, the world will test your integrity. You will face moments where standing by your values feels costly. You will be tempted to take the easier road, to compromise just a little, to bend your morals, to fit in, to get ahead, to avoid conflict. And in those moments, you must ask yourself, what do I truly stand for? Who am I when no one is watching? Because your greatest strength is not in how you perform for others, but in who you are when there is no applause, no recognition, no reward, only you, your conscience, and your truth. People often confuse dominance with control, thinking that to lead means to exert power over others. But true dominance is not about controlling people. It is about inspiring them. It is about being so solid in your integrity that others look to you as a guide, a standard, a presence they can trust. When you lead with integrity, you create influence that cannot be taken away because it is built on truth, not deception. The strongest leaders are those who remain the same in every room, with every person, in every situation, never changing their values to fit the moment. There will always be people who try to test you, who push you to compromise, who question your standards. And that is when you must stand firm. Do not let the fear of being different make you lose yourself. Do not let the pressure of the world force you to abandon the foundation you have built. People may criticize you for your integrity, but deep down, they will respect you for it. Because in a world full of shortcuts, dishonesty, and broken promises, A person who stands by their values, no matter the cost, is rare. And rarity commands admiration. Beloved, the greatest victories in life do not come from overpowering others, but from never betraying yourself. When you lead with integrity, you may not always take the fastest road to success, but you will take the road that leads to real, lasting fulfillment. And in the end, when everything fades, when titles and wealth and fleeting power disappear, you will stand tall knowing that you never had to sacrifice your soul to build your life. That is true dominance. That is real power. That is leading with integrity. The long game of influence. Real power isn't about winning today, but shaping the future. Beloved, in a world obsessed with quick victories, instant gratification, and immediate results, the truly powerful understand something deeper. Real influence is not about winning today, but about shaping the future. The strongest leaders, the most impactful voices, and the people who leave legacies do not waste their energy on temporary battles. They think beyond them. They understand that true power is not about proving something now, but about planting seeds that will grow for years to come. Influence is not about forcing people to listen to you in the present. It is about living in such a way that your presence is felt even when you are gone. Too often, we get caught up in short-term victories. We argue to be right instead of listening to understand. We react impulsively rather than responding with wisdom. We seek recognition rather than focusing on building something of substance. But beloved, the people who truly shape the world are the ones who play the long game. They are the ones who lead with patience, who understand that true power is not about immediate dominance, but about lasting impact. They don't burn bridges to win an argument. They build relationships to create movements. They don't chase approval. They build credibility so that their words will carry weight long after the noise has faded. Think of the greatest leaders in history, the ones whose words are still quoted, whose principles still guide nations, whose legacies still live on. They were not concerned with just winning in their lifetime. They were planting something deeper. They endured opposition. They faced doubt. They made sacrifices, not for short-term success, but for something greater than themselves. And real influence is not about controlling the present. It is about shaping the minds, the values, and the culture that will define the future. It is about having the discipline to delay gratification, the wisdom to pick your battles, and the vision to see beyond the moment. Beloved, do not waste your energy trying to prove yourself today. Instead, focus on becoming the kind of person whose influence will outlast any temporary challenge. Do not be distracted by the need to win every argument, respond to every criticism, or be recognized in every room. Real power is not about applause or validation. It is about living in such alignment with your purpose that your impact continues long after you have spoken, long after you have acted, long after today is past. The long game of influence is about something greater than winning in the moment. It is about shaping the future with the strength of your character, the depth of your wisdom, and the unwavering consistency of your truth.